Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The proceedings of the 103rd Annual General Meeting of the Ceylon Motor Traders Association is about to commence, and we would like to invite all of you to take your seats, please. As you are aware, late Mr. Behman Prestanji, fondly known as Mr. Tito Prestanji, Managing Director of Abans Auto Private Limited, passed away last week. He was an extraordinary leader and a wonderful gentleman. So before we start our proceedings, we would like to have a minute of silence in his honor. We are coming out of a pandemic, and the past few years, everything in our lives mostly has been virtual. So we have been having virtual annual general meetings for the past 2 years, and after 3 years break, today we are going to have a physical meeting. And to go on with the proceedings, I would like to invite the following dignitaries to please come to the head table, please. Ms. Anisha Boteju, CMTA Secretariat. Mr. Yasendra Amrasinghe, immediate past president of the CMTA. Mr. Andrew Perera, Vice President, CMTA. Mr. Viran Dizoisa, Senior Vice Chairman. And I would like to request the Chairman of the CMTA, Mr. Charaka Perera, to accompany our chief guest, Mr. Vish Govindasamy, to the head table, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Chairman and the Executive Committee of the Ceylon Motor Traders Association, it gives me great pleasure and it is a privilege to welcome all of you to the 103rd Annual General Meeting of the Ceylon Motor Traders Association. Firstly, I take this opportunity to warmly welcome our chief guest, an eminent personality, Mr. Vish Govindasamy. We would like to acknowledge the work you have carried out on behalf of the Chamber, and we are truly honored by your presence this evening. Next, we welcome all our distinguished officials representing the government of Sri Lanka and the representative key ministries who are present here this evening. We believe the CMTA will continue to strengthen our ties with the government and its ministries and work closely developing national policy and framework that will benefit all stakeholders in the country. I also would like to welcome respected delegates representing the foreign missions and officials representing our stakeholder organizations for being here today. Your engagement with the CMTA on various ongoing projects have helped impact the industry in a very positive manner, and we value these relationships built over the years. Next, I would like to also welcome the official representing our sponsors, which are also on the screen: HMB Leasing, Sri Lanka Insurance, SLT Mobitel, and Axo Nobel Paints, who have come forward to support the CMTA in all our activities during the past year. We welcome our media partners that have helped the association to continue to be the voice of the industry, and we look forward to your continuous support in all your future events. We welcome the founders, chairmen, managing directors, CEOs of the representative automotive brands who represent the manufacturers that are part of the CMTA membership. Your guidance and direction provided as industry leaders are being valued, always. I also welcome my fellow EXCO members and the management committee of the CMTA who have been the backbone of this 103-year-old association. Finally, I welcome all the other invitees and the members of the CMTA who are present here today. As all of us know, the automotive industry is currently facing arguably one of the most challenging time periods of its history of 103 years. Today's AGM sets a benchmark which showcases and is a true example of how our membership stays resilient and positive whilst continuing to sustain higher standards in product offering and service standards and to its valued customers, whilst we navigate to help develop frameworks and policies with key decision makers that will benefit all our stakeholders in the country. We invite all of you to witness the commitment and the efforts invested by our association that has been carried out in the past year, and hope you will continue to engage with us and strengthen these wonderful relationships built over years. Once again, we welcome all of you, and may you have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you very much.
Next is the confirmation of the notice of the meeting. Can I have the confirmation from the CMTA Secretariat that the AGM circular was sent out giving due notice? Thank you, Anisha. The next item on the agenda is to confirm the minutes of the 102nd Annual General Meeting held on 29 June 2022 virtually. All members would have received the minutes of the last annual general meeting, which is also included in the annual report. May I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Thank you, Mr. Ponnambalam. Thank you, Riza. The Chair would like to declare that the minutes of the AGM is duly confirmed. Next in the agenda is to adopt the annual report and the audited accounts of the Association for the year ended 31st March 2023. I assume that all the members have read the annual report and the audited accounts for the year. May I have a proposer and a seconder, please? Thank you, Rajiv. Thanks, Ian. Thank you. May I now have the approval, please? May I have the approval of the House, please? Thank you. With that, the Chair declares that the annual report and the audited accounts of the financial year 1st April 2022 to 31st March 23 duly adopted. Next in the agenda is the address by the Chairman. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chief guest, Chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Govindasamy, respected officials of the ministries, government institutes, and foreign missions, invitees from stakeholder organizations, officials of sponsor companies, leaders of the motor industry, and my dear colleagues of CMTA. The past year was plagued with political, social, and economic instability in the country, which resulted in most industries having negative growth. Inflation exceeding 70% and the rupee nosediving added to the misery and the chaos. The automobile sector endured its third painful year of import suspension, which was coupled with several months of inability to import spare parts. Activities of the CMTA were conducted under these severe hardships, but the committee took several initiatives towards the betterment of the members and the motor trade. Industry regulation being one focus area, the committee escalated the efforts to bring the regulations for the trade, and CMTA has been able to contribute to several key regulations being now developed. I am also pleased to state that the Ministry of Transport accepted a proposal by CMTA to regulate vehicle imports. The CMTA and KPMG continued the development work on the automotive roadmap, and the final document is expected to be completed soon. During the last year, the association had meetings with the Director General of Customs, Import Controller General, RMV Commissioner, and the Commissioner of IRD, and the officials of several ministries, and have written to them on issues regarding regulating electric two-wheel imports, obtaining a direction for the import of duty for EVs, controlling grey spares imports, action on illegal registration of used vehicles as brand new, and many more. The Executive Committee has been very vigilant and proactive in handling such issues to mitigate any damage to the members and consumers or the country. During the Forex crisis, the association met with the Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Finance and made proposals to include the automobile spare parts into the Indian credit line. Further, when the import of spare parts was suspended, CMTA strongly lobbied to lift the import suspension until the gazette was reversed. One key realization was that, considering the complexities of the industry and the impact it has on diverse areas, the regulator is a mandatory role in our industry. Import of electric vehicles became a hot topic during the year. CMTA made widespread awareness about the need to plan the EV rollout and was invited by the Ministry of Environment to present its concerns to officials of all related ministries. It was an achievement to have the initial gazette of the migrant worker scheme, allowing only manufacturer-recommended brand new electric vehicles with a 5-year warranty. But it is unfortunate for the country that another gazette was issued a few days later, allowing used electric vehicles to be imported under the same scheme against the advice of global manufacturers and without a manufacturer's warranty. CMTA was invited as a panelist to the recently held Climate Finance Workshop organized by the International Finance Corporation to present our views on the EV implementation in Sri Lanka. This and the program Future EV Markets in Sri Lanka were opportunities to create awareness about the negative impacts of unplanned EV introduction without proper infrastructure or without regulations. However, I'm happy to note that a few CMTA members initiated projects to locally assemble EVs, convert ICE to EV vehicles, and to launch EV-based taxi services, which are truly commendable and would lay the foundation for the development of EV-based industries in the country. Further, several CMTA members expanded their local value addition operations under the SOP scheme, while there were some new entrants as well. CMTA is proud of the fact that our members are substantially contributing to the economy and the component manufacturing ecosystem through these projects. On behalf of CMTA, I would like to thank the officials of the Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Industries, PUCSL, RMV, and other ministries for their active role in regulating our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, as the government lifted import suspensions on selected items, CMTA emphasized the need for a more equitable import policy that serves the need of the common man of our country. While the masses face difficulties in providing transportation for their families and their small businesses, mainly due to the exorbitantly high used vehicle prices in the country, it is disheartening to witness limitless importation of luxury items to cater exclusively to the elite. Luxury goods such as high-end televisions, high-end smartphones, double-door fridges, where the FOB ranges from $700 upwards, and retails from 500,000 Sri Lankan rupees to over $1 million Sri Lankan rupees, are now being allowed to be imported. But a 100cc petrol scooter of the common man carrying an FOB tag of $600 continues to be suspended. With all due respect to these industries, I have repeatedly emphasized the equally high import expenditure of some of these products, which can be locally manufactured or locally substituted. For the years 2020-2021, it was around $1.59 billion to import finished clothing, home appliances, furniture, seafood, cosmetics, and toiletries alone. But under the current economic conditions, the whole vehicle industry may only need about $400 million to survive and to supply affordable personal mobility to the whole country. Therefore, I wish to reiterate that opening vehicle imports is not a Herculean task, if properly governed. As such, the association has been strongly lobbying to lift the ongoing import suspension for vehicles. We propose to lift the ban on a staggered basis, with vehicles for the masses being the first to be released. The CMTA proposed that vehicle imports be subject to an increased tax of an additional 130%, with a 15% quarterly reduction of the additional tax. This systematic approach aims to bring the tax structure back to its current level within a 2-year period, while discouraging excessive vehicle imports as soon as the import ban is lifted. CMTA submitted this proposal to the government officials, to IMF, foreign missions, and other stakeholders. Several key officials have expressed their support to this scheme, as it focuses on long-term sustainability and responsible economic growth, and I urge you all to take this message forward. In order to strengthen relationships, CMTA met with the Indian High Commissioner, His Excellency Gopal Bagle, Dr. Rakesh Pandey, and Ms. Irina Thakur of the Indian High Commission, and discussed the plight of the motor industry and the impact to the Indian manufacturers. CMTA also met the Deputy Head of Mission of the Japanese Embassy, Mr. Katsuki Kotaro, and discussed several topics, including the threat to Japanese brands due to the lack of import regulations and the possible methods of recommencing vehicle imports. CMTA had meetings with the USAID, IFC, GGGI, etc., as well as the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce to discuss sustainable future of the automotive industry and the objectives of our association. CMTA strengthened the relationship with SIAM with several meetings on diverse topics. SIAM offered to send a team to present the Indian automotive roadmap to the government officials, which shows their interest and commitment to our country. CMTA built relationships with organizations such as SLASPA and SLACMA by working together on common agendas such as supporting the development of the workshop regulation policy. CMTA representing importers secured a board position in the newly formed Automobile Industry Council, which was inaugurated with the backing of the Ministries of Transport, Education and Industries. I will not dwell on details already shown in the video, but I would like to state that CMTA completed a very dynamic year with several new initiatives such as the cricket tournament, a quiz competition and the pre-owned fiesta, which brought employees of the member companies together on several occasions and boosted their morale. The stakeholder breakfast meetings was a key step towards increasing bonds with the industry stakeholders and strengthening the image of CMTA. The website was relaunched and the association effectively utilized PR, social media, TV and press interviews, which increased the awareness of CMTA. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our friends from the media for the support given to CMTA. As the industry witnessed an exodus of trained employees, the License to Sell program is expected to develop a pipeline of new sales staff for the industry. The next step will be to develop a diploma course on automotive sales, which will be used to train the management of sales. My dear friends, as much as we import vehicles, we have opportunities to diversify into exports as well. I strongly believe that Sri Lanka has the potential to develop a vibrant component manufacturing industry for fast-moving spares such as filters and belts, etc. CMTA is promoting a conglomerate owned by franchise holders, which could potentially develop JVs with foreign manufacturers. CMTA has done the groundwork for the project, supported by KPMG and Julius & Creasy, and I thank both organizations for their contributions. CMTA met the BOI Director General and the Port City project heads with this regard, and will be presenting the plan to our members in the near future. The association signed up with 4 organizations as annual corporate partners, and I'd like to thank the CEOs and the management of Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation, SLT Mobitel, HMB Leasing and ExxonMobil for joining hands with us. My dear members, I am pleased to report that the organization was well governed by the executive committee, with meetings held every month. Rohan Kasichetty was engaged as general manager after his retirement from the chamber, which gave more stability to the association to handle its expanded activities. The main objective of creating the management committee this year was to have inclusive management of the association. Almost all member companies were represented between the executive committee and the management committee, which included 3 female leaders to encourage more women to take leadership in this male-dominated industry. The finances of the association was also managed well, and the committee achieved a surplus for the last year, despite the heightened level of activities. On conclusion, my sincere appreciation goes to the leaders of the member companies, the management committee and the executive committee for their contribution during the last year. A special thanks to Lakmal De Silva, Hiroshini Vijanayaka, Rajiv Aloysius, Teranka Karim, Gaini Kodikara and Sirhan Fernando for organizing the key projects of the year. My deep appreciation goes to the 3 past chairmen, Yashendra Amarasinghe, Gihan Pilapitiya, Riza Rauf, and the industry veteran Bri Ponnambalam for their continuous advice and guidance to me. A special thanks to Rohan Kasichetty and Anisha Boteju for their active role in all activities. My warm appreciation goes to my own Managing Director, Dr. Kalinga Kaluperuma, who has been a great strength for me throughout the year. And I also thank my colleagues at Stafford Motors. Finally, a big thank you to the 2 Vice Chairmen, Viran D'Souza and Andrew Pereira, for standing by me through everything. CMTA consists of members engaged in diverse stages of the motor industry, from CBU imports to local value addition. The diversity also extends from mass market products to high-end luxury vehicles. Therefore, every action of the association could impact each member differently, some positively, some negatively. As a chairman, I have done my very best with sincere intention to lead the association and serve all members with the sustainable growth of the industry in mind. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I have served the post of chairman for 1 year, and I would like to nominate Mr. Viran D'Souza, Senior Vice Chairman, as the Chairman Pro Tem, and request Viran to continue the election of the new chairman.
Thank you, Charaka. On behalf of the association, I convey my appreciation to Charaka for his untiring efforts in leading this association in the most challenging of times. Also, his commitment to activities, events, and ability to connect with automotive stakeholders has helped propel CMTA to be recognized as the voice of the automotive industry. As no nominations have been received for the post of chairman for the period 2023-24, I propose the name of Charaka Perera of Stafford Motor Company Limited to continue to serve as chairman of the CMTA. I request the House for confirmation. Thank you. Chairman, please do continue with the meeting.
Thank you, Viran, for proposing my name as chairman. And I'd also like to thank all the members for having faith in me to run the second year. And I would like to ensure that I will strive hard to steer the association to greater heights. Moving on in the agenda, next in the agenda is election of office bearers for the year 23-24. As there have been no other nominations received, the chair nominates Mr. Viran D'Souza from Associated Motorways Private Limited for the position of Senior Vice Chairman, and the name of Mr. Andrew Perera from Kia Motors Private Limited for the position of Vice Chairman. Can I have the approval of the House, please? Thank you. Chair would like to declare that Mr. Viran D'Souza and Mr. Andrew Perera have been duly elected as Senior Vice Chairman and Vice Chairman respectively for the year 23-24. Moving on, next in the agenda is the election of committee members. I would like to continue with the same executive committee members who have supported me during the past year. Therefore, Chair would like to propose the following members to serve as executive committee members of CMTA for the year 23-24. Access Automobiles Private Limited, David Pierce Motor Company Private Limited, Diesel and Motor Engineering Company PLC, Drive One Private Limited, IWS Holdings Private Limited, McLaren's Lubricants Limited, Satsusa Motors PLC, Senok Trade Combined Private Limited, the Autodrome PLC, Toyota Lanka Private Limited, United Motors Lanka PLC. Can I have the approval of the House, please? Thank you. Chair would like to declare that the above members have been duly elected as the executive committee members for the year 23-24. Next agenda item is to elect the auditors of the association for the year 23-24. Chair proposes that KPMG be re-elected as auditors for the year 23-24. May I have the approval of the House, please? Thank you. Chair hereby declares KPMG duly re-elected as auditors of the association for the year 23-24. Moving on, next agenda item is the introduction of the chief guest, and I would like to invite Mr. Viran D'Souza to introduce the chief guest and invite him to the address the gathering.
Today, it is my honor and privilege to introduce a remarkable individual, someone whose contributions and achievements have left a mark on the people of Sri Lanka. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Vish Govindasamy, Chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. Vish Govindasamy is a name that resonates with excellence, innovation, and a deep commitment to the betterment of society. Mr. Govindasamy has emerged as a true visionary and a catalyst for change. His tireless efforts and unwavering dedication have propelled him to the forefront of several industries, making him an inspiration to many. Today, we have the privilege to be in the presence of a true trailblazer, an individual who embodies the spirit of progress, compassion, and resilience. Mr. Govindasamy's journey serves as a shining example to us all, reminding us that with determination, hard work, and a genuine desire to make a difference, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. Prior to taking the chairmanship of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Govindasamy held the posts of past chairman of both the Employers Federation and Chamber of Pharmaceutical Industry, and was the immediate past chairman of the Indo-Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He is the Group Managing Director of Sunshine Holdings PLC, Chairman Sunshine Consumer Lanka, Healthguard Pharmacy, Tata Communications, and Sunshine Wilma Private Limited. He also serves as Director, Watawala Plantations, Watawala Dairy, Sunshine Tea, Suasaria Foundation, Tal Lanka Hotels, and SoftLogic Life Insurance. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Vish Govindasamy.
Thank you, Viran, for those very kind words. I don't think I deserve a lot of those things what you said. Chairman Charaka Perera, Vice Chairman, Mr. Viran de Souza, Mr. Andrew Perera, the Executive, and members of the CMTA, distinguished invitees, members of the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to all of you. I thank the Chairman and the Executive Committee for having invited me as the chief guest for this AGM of the Ceylon Motor Traders Association. CMTA and the Ceylon Chamber have a very deep history and a relationship that are over a century old, as it's the 103rd AGM of your organization. The CMTA has been involved with the Ceylon Chamber as a member of its main committee, as well as the Transport and Logistics Sector Committee. We are very appreciative of the inputs that you have provided through these committees for the Chamber's consideration. The Chamber, on its part, has relied on your members and technical expertise to provide guidance to the Chamber as and when needed in the past on matters relevant to the motor trade. Ladies and gentlemen, having listened to your chairman iterate what has gone on in the last 3 years in your industry, I have chosen to tell you a very small story, and I hope you will take this in the right spirit. And I would like to give credit of this story to the CEO of the Advocata Institute, Mr. Danath Fernando. It's not my story, but it was his story. So the story goes, walking back to his vehicle, owner of a super luxury car. Since there are many brands here, I will stick to super luxury car. We won't mention any brands. He overheard a man furiously critiquing the supercar which was parked by the roadside. He said, "Look at this car. How many people could have been fed with this money spent on this car? How many houses could have been built using the investment made in this car?" And the man was furious and said, "How insensitive is this owner?" The owner of the supercar, obviously listening to the person who said that, contradicted the angry man and said, "Chump, in truth, by buying this car, I have contributed to thousands of people by putting a meal on their table. Not only have I paid for the labor of those people who have helped to extract the metal to produce this car, but I have also paid for their labor, which was dignified when I bought this car. The engineering team's knowledge was a cost which was since been borne by the buyer. From the semiconductor experts who fitted the gadgets on this car, everyone who has made this car has contributed to this vehicle and has been paid. And I am sure it has helped all of them to put meals on many people's tables," said the owner. So, before I get to the moral of the story, a very misconception about today's market is buying or consuming something, right? Whether it's a super luxury car, or whether it's a refrigerator or an air conditioner, anything that's luxury is felt bad by some and felt good by the one who's purchasing. But actually, it's the opposite. Everything that we purchase is a cumulative product. Everything that we purchase by buying something, we respect someone else's contribution, and both sides are actually benefited, not just the one who is buying. Additionally, by buying something, you are paying taxes to contribute to people and many public goods and the social safety nets that we keep talking about and to uplift many of the lives. All this happens only when markets and systems work properly. By being market friendly is the best way to become business friendly. When markets are not working properly, people end up making super profits. There comes your corruption, and things become abnormal, and finally the poor end up suffering. Ladies and gentlemen, recently Learn Asia, an ICT think tank, launched a survey of 10,000 strong sample on the state of poverty in Sri Lanka. The results show the number of people in poverty has today increased to 7 million. I repeat again, 7 million out of our 22 million are below poverty, from a 3 million that was in 2019 to 2023. When I was writing this number, I was not sure, but then I ended up attending a UNDP function this evening where this number was again stated. So what it is to be in poverty, ladies and gentlemen, 7 million people today have gone without at least 2 meals. That's what has happened today and tomorrow and thereafter. So, poverty is below 13,800 rupees a month, and that's the Sri Lankan poverty line. Urban poverty has tripled, rural poverty has doubled, the estate sector poverty has become 1.5 times. So what happens, this is what happens when markets don't work and people's knowledge and labor are not dignified, and final outcome is poverty. So you're probably all wondering, we came here to hear something good, and here's a guy who's painting doomsday. It's not all that bad, ladies and gentlemen. I'll come to the end of it after I have to say things on the chamber, etc. So I know the business environment for the CMTA membership has not been the best, and probably the most difficult time since the history of this organization. And you're probably the one industry that has probably been hit with the ban on the importation of vehicles over 3 years. And the chamber recognizes it, and the chamber continues to lobby for betterment of this decision. But I must say, as your chairman said, you have shown a significant level of resilience, restraint, and pivoting to business as usual, given the conditions and revenue streams to other operations in order to sustain your companies. And I think each and every one of you must be very proud that you have kept your companies going and did not add to that poverty by keeping your people going even at this difficult time. So I thank you and salute you for that. The chamber identified that when we had the COVID pandemic, that things are not going to go the way everybody expected it to go. We talked to the then government about the issues that the government will face about repaying Sri Lanka's debt. It was no secret that Sri Lanka was beyond its ability to pay on the debt that we have taken at that time. We urged, we begged, we pleaded that they seek assistance from the IMF through the rapid financing instrument that was on offer to all the countries at that point. Needless for me to say, it only fell on deaf ears. But 12 months later, Chamber, along with many economists, institutions, continued to call for the government to seek for the IMF support and the multilateral assistance to initiate a debt restructuring process. You have all witnessed to what has taken place in the last 12 months. It was not an easy task of getting that IMF process going, and I must thank all the diplomatic staff who are here. I know most of you were instrumental, and your missions were instrumental in making this process happen, and I thank you. Ceylon Chamber played a very key role in ensuring the private sector was united, and we gave a united message to the government that through our joint chamber initiatives, we advocated the forex issue that was causing at that time. We had food security issues because of the fertilizer issue that had been created. And then, of course, you knew the political crisis that transpired soon after. Even during this time, the Ceylon Chamber's leadership continued to meet very frequently. We met with many of the policymakers and the IMF, contributing significantly towards securing the board approval for the extended fund facility program that obviously released the huge tensions that all of us faced just a year ago, ladies and gentlemen. We are grateful and appreciate the continuous engagement that the Chamber was able to have with our central bank, the IMF, the World Bank, ADB, the diplomatic community, and all the bilateral and multilateral agencies during this time to help the private sector and to help the people of Sri Lanka. We have also had successive intervening on the behalf of our members and as associations and chambers of yours in key regulations and policy-related decisions that have had a negative impact on all our businesses. The Chamber proactively engaged with the government in overturning the sudden ban of the chemical fertilizer, as I mentioned to you, and some of the practical issues that came soon after the chemical fertilizer unavailability. For example, the tea industry lost over 50 million kilos of tea. You can translate to the amount of foreign exchange that we lost, and the amount of food shortage and the poverty that I spoke to you before. Of course, we all felt the lack of fuel and electricity, and thanks to the hard work that has been done now, there has been some sense into both of those, and we have fuel security and we have food security and probably some amount of foreign exchange to keep us going. So the Ceylon Chamber will continue our efforts with all the agencies, donor agencies, rating agencies, investors, and the international community as a whole to make sure that our members are represented and to the government. So, ladies and gentlemen, where am I going with all this? We are at a very crucial point at our economy, and I know all of you are wondering what's going to happen in the next few days of the domestic debt restructure. Either you're worried about that or you're looking forward to the next 5 days long weekend. Hopefully not, because we have a lot to worry. We as government, private sector, have to stand strong with our government, because we need to emerge from these current challenges, and we need to signal for our nation's economy and the prosperity of our people to go forward. We as the private sector have learned many times the issues, not just the COVID not the economic crises, but we have seen wars, we have seen insurrections, and so on. But we have learned to survive all these time and time after. And I'm sure this too shall pass, and we will come out of this, and businesses for the next decade will grow. So therefore, the associations like CMTA must continue to support progressive policies that will not only advance your industry and the value chain, but the people of Sri Lanka as well. We are seeing how technology is disrupting the global motor vehicle industry with new brands pushing the envelope of traditional brands. The signals that local industry cannot continue, this signals that the local industry cannot continue business as usual, and it may not be able to even when the import ban is lifted if you continue to do the things that you do now. You mentioned a roadmap that will promote clean energy and transportation and ensure sustainability targets for our country. I think that's in the right direction. So, ladies and gentlemen, going back to my story, I hope that your request to open imports is done with careful calibration. So we balance the needs of the motor vehicle industry, the public at large, and to meet the fiscal balances and deficits and debt payments of this country. Sri Lanka needs to survive as a country before we can get back to the levels of imports that we have had before. Our people need to survive. It may look like we are having fantastic stability when you look outside, but there is a lot to do. The public and private sector need to arrive at a consensus. As you read the paper, watch the television, and when you see the protest around the road, I don't think we are coming to consensus as a nation. We are still apart on a lot of these decisions. We need to come to consensus, and we have a lot to do on our loss-making public sector, our state-owned enterprises, and we need to improve our trade and investment competitiveness. We are not the only country in the world that people are lining up to come and invest. What is the USP that Sri Lanka can put forward to many who wants to look to invest? If you look around our nation, there are countries that, making investment worthwhile. So we need to lift barriers, we need to lift and come up with a unique USP on why Sri Lanka. Our mindset, ladies and gentlemen, will have to shift from seeking short-term profit through lobbying to more evidence-based policy making that will benefit the private sector and once again the people of this country. The government has a lot to do. They have KPIs that need to meet every 6 months for the IMF program to receive these disbursements that they have promised. So this will mean a very, very careful navigation that needs to happen before each of these payments are given to us. So whatever steps the government takes today and in the next year or two will determine how we as a country will emerge from these challenges and the signals that we will give the international community on the future prosperity of this country. So I think I don't want to labor the point. We need to all work as one Sri Lanka towards the one goal and make sure our country prospers, your industry prospers, and Sri Lanka as a whole prospers together. So let me thank the opportunity given to me by CMTA for inviting me to this function as your chief guest, and also all the EXCO members, and I wish you all the very best in the ensuing year. and make sure the business gets back to normal. And the Chamber looks forward to working with you and continue to support you in your future endeavors. Have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we are nearing the conclusion of the 103rd Annual General Meeting, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the Ceylon Motor Traders Association. First, a very warm thank you to our chief guest, Mr. Vish Govindasamy. Thank you for accepting our invitation despite your busy schedule and for your inspiring words. We are truly honored to have you here with us. Thank you for your presence. To the respected officials of the ministries, government institutions, and foreign missions, we thank you for you being here today and for the support extended to us during the last year. Despite the many challenges faced by CMTA, we have managed to become stronger and more robust, collectively finding solutions for the many of these issues, and your support in this regard was immense. We look forward to your support to restart the brand new imports in sustainable manner and to collectively revive the industry. The CMT has become more visible and has been heard more by our stakeholders and the general public. And for this, I wish to extend my appreciation to the friends from the media, both for their support of the CMTA and for their presence today in our annual general meeting. I also wish to extend gratitude to the officials from Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, members of PA associations, officials of other private organizations, and our special invitees for strengthening their partnership or relationships with CMTA and for being with us today. A special word of appreciations to officials of our corporate partners, SLT Mobitel, Sri Lanka Insurance, HNB Leasing, and ExxonMobil. You were a vital part of our success in last year, and we thank you for partnering with us. I would be failing my duties if I do not thank the management and the staff of Jack Hilton Hotel for all the arrangements and the band for the entertainment to be provided later. Finally, but most importantly, I wish to express our sincere gratitude to the leadership, the management of CMTA member companies, and the members of the subcommittees for their contribution during the last year. For being here with us, we celebrate 103 years of excellence. We appreciate the support extended by each and every one of you for the initiative of CMTA and look forward to your support the coming years too. Once again, thank you everyone, and on behalf of CMTA,